The Ice King, at the beginning of Adventure Time, didn't seem like such a deep character, or someone with a very complex and tragic past behind him. He was basically there to play the role of the show's villain, the one who's always trying to do something wrong, but ends up being defeated by the good guys at the end of every episode. But in my opinion, I honestly never saw the Ice King as a true villain in the show. Even though he was supposed to be the bad guy and acted as the antagonist in several episodes, I just couldn't see him that way. And I think that's because he never really posed a serious, threatening danger. The guy was kind of silly, and most of the time, it was extremely funny to watch his craziness. And despite all the wrong things he did in the episodes, it was still clear to me that he wasn't genuinely evil in the end. Sure, he was weird, annoying, and complicated most of the time, but you just couldn't feel that there was real malice inside him, you know? And nowadays, knowing his backstory and rewatching some episodes with a new perspective, I can understand all of this in a much clearer and infinitely sadder way than before. Simon had lost his sense of reality and gone completely insane because of the crown. He didn't remember anything about who he was, or everything that had happened. He forgot the people he loved. He forgot that he was once loved. He forgot why he fought so hard and everything that once made him human. He forgot that he was someone. At some point, all of those memories slipped away, no matter how hard he tried to hold on to them through all that madness, through the storm that his mind had become. And after fighting for so long, completely exhausted, he lost. He lost Betty. He lost his grip on reality. He lost the ability to be happy. He lost Marceline. And finally, he lost himself. And now I understand a little better all that melancholic atmosphere, all that pain that always followed the Ice King. His strange behaviors in the moments that I once found funny became heavy, and all of a sudden, very real cries for help. Everything started to make sense, and it became something deeply depressing. The Ice King was the very embodiment of the madness that had slowly consumed Simon, and all the negative feelings that emerged during that process. He was an empty shell, condemned to live every day with Simon's loneliness and sadness. It's easy to see how lonely the Ice King felt. There are several episodes where he says it openly and shows it, talking to himself, crying. He truly didn't understand why he felt that way, and if you stop to think about it, most of the bad things he did in the show were driven by his constant search for acceptance, affection, and attention. In the episode Princess Monster Wife, for example, he takes a piece of every princess and OO to create a wife who would live with him in the castle and love him. He was always trying to find a way to make Finn and Jake be his friends and spend more time with him. There's even an entire episode built around that idea. I don't remember the name of the episode right now, but it's basically about the Ice King paralyzing Finn and Jake with a potion he made, and promising to turn them back to normal as soon as everyone there had become best friends. At no point was his intention to hurt them. In fact, there are several moments in the show where he refers to Finn and Jake as his friends. And in the episode with Miss Island, he constantly refers to Princess Bubblegum as his girlfriend, even though obviously none of that was true. However, all of these things perfectly reflect how the Ice King had absolutely no idea how normal relationships with others were supposed to work. He would go as far as believing his own lies just to feel a little bit closer to people and a little less lonely. Since he didn't know how to make people like him without kidnapping them all the time or paralyzing them with a freezing potion, he ended up becoming someone very bizarre, someone who pushed people away with those harmful actions. And because of that, he just kept sinking deeper and deeper into the loneliness and madness that had taken over his mind as time went by. And I can't help but imagine how deeply painful and desperate that must have been for the Ice King. As more of his past is revealed throughout the episodes, it becomes very clear that Simon was a good person, someone with a huge heart. His entire story with Marceline, and the way she loves him so deeply, is the biggest proof of that. He took care of her for years after the war, and did everything he could to protect her, even if it meant putting himself in danger. And I think that says a lot about Simon's character and how great he truly was. His story is beautiful. It speaks a lot about sacrifice for those we love. It speaks about staying strong in difficult times, because doing so means protecting the people who represent the world to us and making sure they don't get hurt. Because being strong goes far beyond protecting yourself. Simon's story is about finding a reason to keep going and to keep fighting, even among so much ruin and destruction, in a world that's been torn apart and crushed by the end of hope itself. A world that constantly stares at you and tells you it's better to give up, that it's not worth the effort, that it's not worth going on, that death, destruction, and chaos have already won in the end. But Simon ignored all of that. In the midst of all that darkness, he found a small flame he needed to keep alive, and that's exactly what he did. Marceline lived, and through Simon's actions, it's clear that this was more important to him than anything else in the world. So, I don't think he lost in the end. I believe he won. As Adventure Time progressed, I ended up developing a deep deep affection for this character. He started to mean something to me in a way he hadn't before, and now, when I rewatch the episodes where the Ice King appears, I see him with much more understanding and a lot more sorrow. After all the suffering and pain that man went through, both as Simon Petrikov and as the Ice King, he deserved a happy ending. He deserved a bit of peace. He deserved to be free from loneliness. He deserved to feel loved again. And while it makes me sad that he lost Betty, I also feel truly happy that he was able to regain his sanity and find peace in the end, together with Marceline.
Let's go in the garden. You'll find something waiting right there where you left it, lying upside down. When you finally find it, you'll see how it's faded. The